Okay, let me just post this on Twitter here. Okay, we are live now. Hey everyone, how you guys doing today? Hey everyone. Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Oh, didn't mean to do that, but... Okay, there we go. My day was good, Dennis Ghost. How was yours? Surprised you aren't burnt out from yesterday. No, I'm good here, dude. I do a Red Dead stream every Friday. It's good, Vanny. How are you? Yeah, I want to do the Metal Gear Solid games, and I'm gonna wait for that collection, too. Yeah, the PvP video is like about to hit 120,000 views. You know, it's really blowing up. Like, that video is really popular. Yeah, it's okay, Ferris. No, we're not necessarily grinding. We're just, you know, playing, having fun on the game, and... No, I don't play League of Legends. Yeah, well, look, Drifter Kids, that video that I uploaded, you know, the other day, that is really the last PvP video that I'm ever making on GT Online. I'm really not gonna make them anymore. Like, so if, like, a griefer kills me during a stream, sure, I'll kill them back, but I'm never, like, you know, making any more videos on that again, because it's just, and the thing is, I will say something, the griefers that I fought back in, like, 2019 were annoying, but it wasn't even as toxic as this is now. Like, this, like, the toxicity on GT Online, this is just ridiculous. It is just, it has just gotten so stupid. It's like somebody, you know what GT Online is like? Is somebody will blow themselves up with a sticky bomb like 100 times, constantly easy way outing over and over again, and then they'll get one lucky kill on you, and then they'll be like 1-0, and they'll act like they're, you know, they're god at the game and you suck. And that's what I'll say about it. It's just so garbage, the PvP on that game. It's just so terrible. I guess I just don't have the reaction that a lot of other people have, Austin. I kind of saw it coming. It's okay, Clint Chocolate, Chip. I think Empire Bay, Ryan. Yo, Pro, how does feudalism function economically during the medieval ages? Great question. Here's the thing is, feudalism is not capitalism. A lot of people think that feudalism is capitalism. It is not capitalism by any means. Feudalism is not a free market society. It is very much a controlled economy. iPad, it's good to see you, Slick, LOL. Still making fun of Devin Weston's annoying dialogue. Yep, and he is definitely one of the most annoying GTA characters of all time. Thank you, Zay and Isaiah. Thank you for that super chat. But about feudalism, how feudalism basically works is it started up right after the fall of the Roman Empire. because Rome protected its cities and its people, and there were soldiers on the roads that would protect people from bandits. But what ended up happening is when Rome collapsed, there was no more army, no one left to protect them anymore. And the what was it? They were called highwaymen. That's what the bandits were called. Highwaymen basically terrorized Europe right after the fall of the Roman Empire. Like, highwaymen had controlled most of the continent. What a highwayman basically is a highwayman is somebody that would basically hide outside of towns. So they would be in between towns. They would find somewhere like behind a hill or a tree or a rock, somewhere they would hide, and they would basically ambush you when you're coming through. And they would rob you, possibly kill you. They would take all your stuff. And so these highwaymen basically terrorized people. Now, people got so scared and desperate, they basically went to the rich for help. The rich were the former aristocracy and that were in the Roman Empire. And what the aristocrats did was they basically created their own mini towns around their manor. So what the aristocrats had is they had their, big house, their big mansion. Everybody knew the lord lived there. He would build a giant wall around his manor. And this wall was like pretty big, like a few football fields. So it had a decent amount of space. And he would have these small, like, huts built. And these small huts would be where the peasants would live, the poor farmers. And he would basically hire a bunch of knights that would basically enforce his will. And so how it would work is you would live on the manor, and you would work for the lord, and the house that you lived in wasn't even your own property. You had to pay rent to the lord. So you had to pay rent to the lord, and whatever crops that you farmed, you would have to give more than half of that to the lord. So more than half of your labor. And the lords would justify this by saying, oh, we're protecting you from the highwaymen. You are safe here. And here's the thing is, this was a giant scam. Because if you tried to leave the manor, you weren't allowed to. You were basically the lord's property. So you weren't like a complete slave where you had no freedom. You did get a little bit of money. You could spend it on the manor, and you did get food and a place to sleep, but you could not leave. You were considered still property of the lord. And so that is what feudalism was. It was a giant scam that had gone on. And what would happen is these lords would have permission to govern from their kings and queens, and they would basically just give a cut of the hard work that the peasants gave to the king and the queen. And the king and the queen would not let them operate. That's how that system worked. These aristocrats were really scummy people. They were not to be trusted at all. That's why a lot of kings and queens throughout European history, notice how aristocrats oftentimes would betray the king and the queen, because the aristocrats had self-interest. They only, cared about themselves primarily and their own title and their own privileges. The other thing I'll say about this is, if anybody has ever played the Mount & Blade games, the Mount & Blade games, you notice how in those games the lords are constantly betraying the king when the king doesn't give them, enough land or privilege or enough wealth. That would constantly happen. That would happen in real life. Is like the aristocrats were very self-interested people. Sounds like the barons in Mafia: The Old Country. That's exactly what they are. That is pretty much exactly what they are. If feudalism was a giant scam, now this was not a capitalist system, this was a controlled economy because the aristocrats would basically control the entire economy. You could never become richer than the aristocrat, he would never allow that. Which voice actors from GTA would you like to see create their own channel to play the game? Who are the protagonists? Stephen Ogg, Young Melee, or Michael Hollick? I would maybe like to see also some of the older, like the Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories actors, like Dorian Cusick? I forget his full name. The guy who played as Vic Vance. I'd like to see him play throughout Vice City Stories. The thing about Michael Hollick is I don't know if Michael Hollick would be interested in doing a playthrough as Niko because he's really angry at Rockstar, and that might bring back some bad memories for him. It does not make sense that some players consider they're better at the game for taking themselves out. Yeah, and Long John, about that, when me and you were kids and we played, different games like Call of Duty and such, if anybody did that back then, when we were kids, like they killed themselves repeatedly in the game over and over again, they would be laughed at. Like, everybody would laugh at them. They think that they're a stupid player, they're a dumb player. But GTA Online has basically created this atmosphere where, people will just repeatedly kill themselves, easy way out over and over again, and then they think that they're good at the game. The way I see it is whenever somebody easy way outs on GTA Online, I see that I got the kill. I killed that person. That's what I see it as. I don't care about the scorecard. I see it that I killed the person because you have basically accomplished what I was set out to do. I was set out to kill you, and if somebody just keeps killing themselves on the game, you have basically accomplished what I was trying to do. You just made it easier for me. No, I haven't lived in New York. I haven't lived in New York for 5.5 years, Vanny. But even when I lived in New York, I didn't live in the city. I'm from the city originally, but when I moved out, my parents had lived on Long Island. They should have an easy way out stat displayed on their profile. Oh yeah, that'd be funny. Like you would see like thousands of easy way outs on like somebody's profile, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I don't want to play with this person. Do you think Nicole and Elan Ceausescu were narcissists, or do you think they were narcissists? And the wife was pretty guilty too. She stole a lot of money, so you know they were bad people. Hello, Pro. It's my girlfriend Melissa's birthday tomorrow. We both enjoy watching your guides on GT Online. Can you wish her a happy birthday? Also, keep up the good work. Thank you, Poncho. I hope that Melissa has a good birthday, and I wish both of you guys well. Thank you, guys. Yes, we could, General. Just make sure to remind me. I'll let the chat decide later on what Legendary Bounty will do. Yeah, we're gonna have that video, Mr. Green, tomorrow, the Saints Row video. It'll be out, but it'll be out later in the afternoon my time. So that's not gonna be out early, but it'll be out tomorrow, just later in the afternoon. Yes, I want to get back into Crime Boss and give the game a try. What video are you the most proud of making, Pro? I'll watch it. It's gonna be a little hard to think about. What video am I the most proud of making? I would say the video that I'm the most proud of making is probably, probably the video where why does Trevor forgive Michael? Like, that video just requires so much research and so much work. Like, I put so much work into that project. It's like it's like nearly a 2-hour video. It's like, why does Trevor forgive Michael? It's like a really long lore video. It's probably my longest lore video. What do you think of Red Dead 2? Where do you rank Red Dead 2 in all time for games? 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Thank you, Tate. The only reason I don't give Red Dead 2 a solid 10 out of 10 is because of what happened with Red Dead Online. So I do factor that in as part of the score. Howdy, this is a good way to finish my shift. Oh, I hope you have a good rest of your shift. Hey, Vareshno, I recently watched your Mr. Faber video. Do you think Faber is now the most powerful antagonist in the Grand Theft Auto series? In a way, yeah. In a way, yeah, he is. Okay, this is about to be finished producing. Thank you, Korea, Yome7, if I'm reading your name correctly. But yeah, Mr. Faber controls everybody's money, which is what makes him so, dangerous. The fact, a character that controls everyone's money. And here's the thing is, when Mr. Faber goes after you in the summer DLC, I think he's going to go after your businesses. That's what I think is going to happen. He's going to go after your businesses. It's freezing in Arizona right now because of the rain. I will tell you, though, when I was in Nevada in November, I hated the rain that happened. Because, there was a really bad thunderstorm in, mid-November when I was in Las Vegas. I know that's not, Arizona, but I never expected, a really bad rainstorm like that in Vegas. And it was right when I was there, too. It sucked. My friends and I are thinking about the Angels being the main gang in New York City in our series, since you're named after the boss and you're in New York. Well, thank you, DL Gaming 2002. Thank you for the super chat. I wish your series the best of luck. How do I invite my friend to the posse? What you mean in this game, or you mean in my game, or do you mean just in general? What might happen if you can't invite your friend to a posse, you might have persistent posse members where they might be, you know, they're not playing with you right now, but they're in the menu. So you have to, you know, go to the posse thing in members and remove them to make space. Well, he ain't my boy, but the brother is heavy. Gave away my possessions and moved into a Chevy. Dead Rising 1 convicts. Oh, is that from Gone Guru? That's the song that plays during that, right, Glover? What about PvP as in racing in GTA 5 online? I honestly think it's fun, but the main problem is it does not pay enough, and that makes no one do it. Yeah, but also, you know what I think is the best PvP races? The best ones are the ones where no contact, where you can't actually hit each other, because people would constantly play cheap in those races, Marco. But yeah, you know, those were a bit fun. New York pizzas are really good. When's the next part of Yakuza? Tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't know you guys got snow in the desert in New Mexico. Can I join you? Well, Jetro fan, do I have you added? Yeah, we're gonna, tomorrow I'll do the, during the exclusive stream, we can check it out, and I can also link his video trap. But yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I might do Delta Force's campaign if I have the time, Mr. Green. Well, PC lobbies unfortunately have a lot of cheaters in them. But yeah, we're playing on PlayStation. Yeah, it's much better, Jonathan Reagan. I really like those burritos. It's a shame though, because they gave me really bad heartburn, but they were really good. If you didn't know that Nevada has part of California's forests and parts of Lake Tahoe and the Sierra Mountains, I know that, yeah. I mean, I know that also from Godfather 2, because Michael Corleone lived in the Nevada part of Lake Tahoe. Thank you, PlayStation Lover, for the super chat. Just like you, I absolutely hate Henry from Mafia 2, as he caused a lot of problems for Vito, leading to a drug war between the Triads and the Falcone family. Henry's charismatic, but he's also a snake. Yeah, and that's the thing is I think that Henry is the most overrated character in the entire Mafia series. I think Henry 100% is the most overrated character. I don't know why people like him so much. Like, he's a scumbag. Like, you know, look at what he did to Vito. Like, all of the interactions that have been with Henry have been a disaster. Just think about that. Like, the jewelry store mission, it was a disaster. The police arrived, you know, early, which, you know, you wonder why they arrived early. You have the stamp mission. You know, he didn't say anything about expiration dates, and he threatened not to pay Vito unless he had to drive to all the gas stations, and then he got arrested for that. Also, you know, killing the fat man, that went horrible. It was a disaster. And then when Vito got sent to prison, Henry didn't even take care of Vito's mom, which that's what's supposed to happen. Is like, you know, when a mobster goes to prison for a job, the guy who sends him on that job is supposed to take care of his family. That's how it's supposed to be. And in exchange, the guy doesn't talk. That's how it's supposed to work. But he didn't even take care of Vito's mom when she was sick, didn't help her, and he didn't even visit Vito once in prison. And then when Vito gets out of prison, finally, he when Vito kills his boss, he shows up on Vito's doorstep and begs for a job. Like, Vito should have honestly told him, you get off my stoop right now or I'm gonna kill you. That's what Vito should have said to him. So I don't know, like, why, like, you know, there's this obsession with Henry. Henry was a scumbag. Like, literally, you know, all he did was cause problems throughout the story. Like, I never liked that character. I hated him. So I really didn't like him. So I agree with you, PlayStation Lover, there. I just upgraded to GTA, O Series X version? Is performance mode or fidelity better? Performance, you should always play in performance or performance mode on GTA Online. There's really no difference in fidelity. The only thing I would say about fidelity is when you're doing the casino heist, play on fidelity because the heist will glitch out if you're playing on performance mode. You get trapped in the man trap. That's what I'll say about that. Thank you, Snowy M. Can you tell the history about the Berlin Wall? Oh, hi, Minion Dave. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, the Berlin Wall that was built in the 1960s, that started being built under Khrushchev. It was Khrushchev who started building it. It was finished, I think it was finished under Brezhnev. But about the Berlin Wall, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the wall. The East Germans, the communists, they never actually called it the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall is what we called it in the West. In the West, we called it the Berlin Wall. The communists, they called it was something along the lines of the anti-fascist wall or something like that. The anti-capitalist, anti-fascist wall. It was something like that. That's what they called it. And what the East German government claimed about the Berlin Wall is they never claimed that it was to keep East Germans from escaping. They claimed it was protection. They claimed it was to protect East Germany, East Berlin specifically, from capitalist and fascist infiltration. That's what they claimed. They claimed that, West Berlin was fascist, and they claimed that the fascists were trying to come in and destroy, East Berlin, and that we had to protect our people. That's what they said about the Berlin Wall. So they never said, oh, it's to keep people from escaping. It was to protect us from fascists. But in reality, most East Germans knew that it was specifically to keep them from escaping. That's what they knew. And also the thing about that is the soldiers that were put on the Berlin Wall. You notice how those soldiers a lot of times shot people, like they were very cold-blooded people. There's a reason for that. The reason that the soldiers on the Berlin Wall shot people a lot of times is because they were the most hardline communists. So they only chose people that were the most hardline towards the regime, people that would not defect, people that would not escape, and so that's why the East Berlin guards were always so brutal. Brutal is because they were the most loyal to the communist regime, and specifically they were chosen for that role. Why do people, even kids, are obsessed with playing games on PC rather than consoles like Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation? Local co-op and split-screen multiplayer used to be so much fun back in the day. Yeah, I think that it's because it's a lot easier to get into PC gaming. Because, like, back in the day, like when I was a kid, PC gaming was a bit more difficult because you didn't really have gaming computers. You instead had to, buy a graphics card and you had to put it into your computer. A lot of kids didn't know how to do stuff like that. Now, today, you can just buy a gaming laptop. Like, everything will be set up for you. So that was, that. But I've always been a console guy, just, hooking it up to my, TV, playing it with a controller, not having to install anything, not having to install any programs or anything like that. I've always been a console player. I always will. So I have a gaming PC. My gaming PC is pretty good. But I just never been a PC guy, personally. Thank you, Zay, for the super chat. Explain how January 3 SL1 nuclear and Venezuela pisses you off. Wait, what, Bork? Are you talking about when the dictator of Venezuela was captured? Is that what you're talking about? Hey, Pro, I just wanted to thank you for the hundreds of hours of entertainment. Also, what do you think the United States' worst mistake in military history was? Love you. Thank you, Kobe. I love you too. Thank you, man, for the super chat. The worst military mistake the United States made in its history. Oh, I'd have to think about that one. That's gonna be a tough one. Let me think about that one. Well, my lie was during the Vietnam War. It was a horrible massacre that happened, but, that's a war crime. We're talking more about, like, military mistakes that were, like, military decisions that, like, went really bad. Well, Kobe, can I ask you one thing? And you don't have to super chat me again, but, like, the question that you're asking me, the worst mistake in military history. When you say mistake, what are you talking about? Are you talking about, like, a single battle? Are you talking about, like, a war in general? Are you talking about, like, a war crime? Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about like a military decision? Like, it's like, what are you what are you talking about specifically? Like, what's the question regarding? Is it like a tactical mistake, a war crime, or like, that's the part of your question I'm a little confused on. The thing is, there have been so many military mistakes in American history. It would have to be very difficult to try to pin down what would be the worst one, the worst military decision ever. But I think I can give you a few good examples. Manhunt DLC for GT Online. What was that gonna be? When you play GTA 6 Online, please say, "Oh shit, here we go again," because you might deal with another PvP BS again. Yep, and that'll be funny. We can do that. Political military involvement, where and what was not needed, supported Vietnam. Oh, if you mean this, what is the stupidest war that the United States has gotten involved in? The stupidest, when that, like a conflict that the United States should not have gotten involved in at all. That one's easy. If I was to say the stupidest war that America has ever fought in, the dumbest war, a lot of people think that it's Iraq. People think that it's Vietnam. It's actually not those. Those are both stupid wars, don't get me wrong. Vietnam and Iraq are stupid wars, but it's not the stupidest war America's ever fought. You know what the stupidest war America's ever fought? World War I. World War I is the stupidest war, 100%. More Americans died in World War I than in Vietnam and Iraq combined. So that was it. It's like over 100, what was it, 120,000 Americans died in in World War I. So in World War I, it was yeah, World War I. And the reason that I say it's the stupidest, war that America has ever gotten involved in is because there was no reason for America to ever get involved in World War I. Like, World War I was a European affair. It was basically a big power grab between a bunch of stupid, greedy monarchies. It was a bunch of stupid kings and queens. They were basically fighting each other over their colonies. It was just a big power grab. So, like, both sides were equally bad in World War I. It's not like, in World War II, for example, like, you had the clear good guys and the clear bad guys. Like, the Allies were the good guys, the Axis were the bad guys. But in World War I, it's much more complicated. In World War I, both sides were pretty bad. So there was really no good guys in World War I. So if I was president at that time, I would have kept America out of World War I 100%. Like, I would have basically just told the Europeans it's a European problem. It's not an American problem. So, like, that was it. It was a stupid conflict that we should have never gotten involved in. World War II was a justifiable, conflict to get involved in because Japan attacked us, and you had, Nazi Germany that was, expanding throughout Europe and committing genocide. But in World War I, it was just very different. It was a bunch of stupid empires that were fighting each other. Let me see here. I have a lot of honor and respect for our military soldiers and veterans, but I hate the generals and the politicians from both parties. Oh yeah, I agree with you. Isaiah, is that in general, like the soldiers, have always been good throughout American history. If anything, the problem has been the politicians, and it's been the problem with the generals and the politicians, and also the military-industrial complex. Those are the people that always were causing problems. Pat, I'm Pickle. Oh, okay, Jetro. Well, you can just join me then, Jetro. Just join me, and you can just, I'll open up the posse. Can I get a happy birthday, Pro? Happy birthday, Kane. Everyone wish Kane their happy birthday. Are you in my session, Pickle? What do you think about the last monarchy in Vietnam, the Nguyen dynasty? They were demonized pretty badly in the history books for acting pretty spineless towards the French. Yeah, they really didn't do anything to resist the French. So that's yeah. I think that the anger towards them is kind of justified in a way. They really didn't do much. Wait, Bork, are you still here? Did you ever explain what you wanted to ask me? No, this is not Oscar Guzman. This is just my Red Dead cosplay. I've always wore this. Yeah, and that's Teddy Roosevelt is wrong on that. Teddy Roosevelt was wrong on that. You know, the United States should have never gotten involved in World War I. Thank you, PlayStation Lover, for sponsoring my channel for 9 months. Pro, I know that you're an agnostic, and I respect that, but what are your thoughts on biblical slavery as an ancient practice and not theological? What do you mean exactly? Can you give me an example? Can you explain a little bit more? What are you talking about specifically? Who is the most underrated president? Look at me. Well, Jetro, are you in the session? Hang on. General, can you please invite Pickle to the posse? Yes, there we go. Hey, Pro, can you actually believe Sony shut down Blue Point Games? And I'm not surprised. Sony will shut down Bend Studios next. Oh, thank you, Jonathan, for sponsoring my channel for half a year. I don't know if I know that company. Hold on, let me look up what games they made. Hang on, Blue Point developer? Blue Point. I'm sure if I see their games, I'll recognize them. Let's see, what games did these guys make? God of War collection. Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection. Oh, Demon Souls. Shadow of the Colossus. Oh, huh. Oh, yes, they did, Ayaka. Wait, you explained it, Bork? Hold on. I was asking how January 3 pisses you off, and no other reasons than Venezuela personal reasons. Dude, January 3? What happened on January 3? Wait. Bork, I'm just getting so confused right now. Like how the Bible mentions slavery as regulating it, making it harder for slave owners to own slaves instead of condemning it, including the book of Exodus and Falmum. Well, I don't know that much about those passages, so I can't say. The only thing I can say about that is I don't think that any kind of, you know, I don't think that any kind of religion, you know, at least not today, you know, advocates for slavery. So, you know, when people say, like, oh, you know, Christianity or something else advocates for slavery, I don't really buy that. I don't believe that. So it's, no, I don't believe stuff like that. So it's, I don't think that any kind of religion really advocates for that. You know, what I will say, though, is that, a lot of people will make accusations constantly against religions because they just don't like those religions. So, you know, I'll give you a perfect example for it, and this is as somebody who's an agnostic coming from. One thing that I hear that's very historically inaccurate, like one thing that I really don't, one thing that really pisses me off, like about history, one thing that I get really mad about is I get really mad when people, you know, make up history. When people say things that did not happen and they try to change history, especially for a specific narrative, that really pisses me off, and I really don't like that as somebody who likes history. Now, a perfect example that I can think of is what a lot of people tend to do is a lot of people say that, like, oh, the Nazis, for example, in World War II, they say the Nazis were like a Christian, you know, political party, or they say the Nazis were Christians, when in reality, there's really no proof of that. There really isn't. And what will happen is, to be fair though, is you will have a lot of atheists that will say that like the Nazis were you'll have Christians that will say that the Nazis were atheists. So you have Christians who will say the Nazis were atheists, and you have atheists who will say the Nazis were Christians. But in reality, the Nazis weren't Christian or atheist. They really weren't either one. The thing is that the Nazis actually hated both. They hated both Christians and they hated both atheists. So, for example, the Nazis despised Catholics the most. They out of all the Christian religions, they hated Catholicism the most. Lutheranism, they kind of tolerated more because it was the German. It was a Protestant version of Christianity. It largely originated in Germany, but they really did not tolerate Catholicism. If you were like a Catholic, you could not rise for the Nazi party. They would not allow you to do that. Hitler had ordered, for example, crosses to be removed from German schools. That is a documented fact. And now what a lot of people tend to do when they misrepresent this history is they say, oh, Hitler mentioned God in his speeches. So in some of Hitler's speeches, Hitler mentions God. And people say, oh, that's proof that Hitler was like a Christian and that like, he supported Christianity and stuff like that. But if you actually look at the table talks are actually provide much more evidence. What the table talks basically it was Hitler's personal thoughts on a lot of things. And they were recorded by Martin Bormann. Martin Bormann was Hitler's personal secretary. And so what Hitler would do is he would eat with a lot of other Nazi politicians, Nazi generals, and during those dinner meetings, he would discuss a lot of his, personal views on, religion, government, and stuff like that. And a lot of times the things that he said in those table talks are very different than the speeches that he gave. So, like in the speeches, for example, he mentions God and says that, but in the table talks, he says that Christianity is actually one of the worst things that has happened to Germany. He says that in the table talks. He says that Christianity is a weak religion. He accuses Christianity of being controlled by Jews. He makes a lot of ridiculous statements in those table talks against Christianity specifically. So, like, there's people out there that, like, think that Hitler was, like, a Christian, when in reality, there's really no proof of that. Hitler despised Christians. He thought that Christians were weak. So, that's a false statement. But at the same time, Hitler really despised atheists. So, he hated atheists. What Hitler did is he made the German Freethinkers Organization illegal, which was the largest atheist group in Germany. He made that group illegal. He banned that group. So, what was Hitler's religion? We really don't know what Hitler's religious views are. The only thing we know is that he wasn't a Christian, but he wasn't an atheist either. He did believe in something. We really don't know what it was. Some people think that he believed in the German pagan religions, but that was more of like the SS and Himmler that did stuff like that. Hitler was obsessed with fate and destiny. He believed in fate. He believed in destiny. He believed that he was destined to rule Germany, and he also believed that nothing could kill him. So, like, after the July plot, when Hitler almost died in July 1944 with the Valkyrie plot, he believed that nothing could kill him. He thought that he was invincible. And so he maybe saw himself as some kind of his own personal god, some kind of, spirit, whatever it was. But he definitely, he believed in something. We just don't know what it was. But when people say he was a Christian, there's really no proof of that. Let me see here. I missed a bunch of comments. Guys, can you please stop inviting me to parties? The notifications is getting a bit annoying. I don't join parties on live streams. I appreciate the invites, but I don't know who this is. Is he my friends list? But I just don't join parties during live streams.
You handled yourself on that last one.
Okay, let me see here. Free roam missions. Most overrated character in the Red Dead series, similar to your views on Ryder from GTA San Andreas and Henry from Mafia 2.
I sure hope this ain't no social call.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Dude, can you please stop with the party invites, please? Pat, invite me to the posse. Sure, give me 1 second. General, hang on. General, find a new session. Hang on. General.
I'm
General, there's a griefer in that lobby. There's a griefer in that lobby. I recognize one of the names in there. General, what I want you to do right now, hold on, is stay in that lobby for now. Just don't join my session. We're going to make a private session right now. Hold on, chat. I will read the session. I will read the chat in a moment. We just have a loser that's trying to join the, to harass us right now. And I'm not going to tolerate this nonsense. So we had a griefer that was in the session before. We're gonna make a private session right now. It's like I said, is that this toxicity, and that guy also griefs on GT Online, so it's not just to Reddit Online, but yeah, this toxicity is just why people really don't enjoy PvP specifically for this. Hold on, I'm gonna have to. This is getting really annoying now. I asked several. I don't know who these people are who keep spamming me. I've asked several times to I've asked several times to stop, and they're not doing it. So I gotta do this now. Hold on, everyone. Chat, hold on. I will read comments in just one moment. Give me 1 minute. We're gonna make a private session, and I'll read as many comments as I can. General, can you invite me to your session right now?
Yeah, hold on. You got it?
Hold on 1 second. I got it now. Okay, General. Hold on. We're going to make this private session right now. For people that want to know how to make a private session in Reddit Online, this is how you do it. It's a glitch that you have to do. And this is the only glitch I do ever. I really don't do glitches in games, but this is really the only glitch I do, is to make private sessions. If I can get away from these toxic people and, you know, play in my own private session, I'm going to do it. General, are you appearing offline? Because I don't see your name.
Oh, crap. Hold on.
Appear online so I can invite you, please. Everybody who super chatted me and left a comment, I'll read just your comments in a little bit. Just hold on.
Alright, I'm on. Got it?
Just checking in here. Okay, I see it now. Okay, General, accept my invite. Tell me when it says processing.
Okay. Okay, processing right now.
Okay, so this is how you make a private session. Your friend has to invite you, and then you go to a poker table. You make a private session, or you private poker game. You invite him, and then when your friend you tell your friend to accept your invite, and what you do is when he tells you that he sees processing invite, you wait 2 seconds, and then you accept his invite, and then your friend will be connected into a private session, and then nobody else will be able to get into that except your friends. And so now I'm just gonna wait for General. General, did you connect into that session?
Yeah, I'm in.
Does it work? Is it a private session?
Yeah, I see you. I see you.
Okay, so it's a private session. It's worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna restart my game right now, and I'm going to join you right now.
Alright, then.
General, can you invite me?
Yeah, I got you. Hold on.
Okay.
Alright, you got it?
What was it? For PlayStation you sent it?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, I sent through the thing.
Okay, it should be good now. And don't worry, Pickle, because I'll get you in here too, Pickle, so you can play with us. So don't worry, you're not being left out there with a griefer. I'll get you in here too. Okay, so the most overrated character in Red Dead Redemption. Oh, I have to think about that. maybe it would either have to be Irish or Reyes. Irish or Reyes. Because both Irish and Reyes are scumbags. Both of them are scumbags. I don't know why people like Irish and Reyes so much in Red Dead Redemption. They're both scumbags. Thank you, Phoenix. I would like to see you play Majora's Mask someday. It's on my top 3 best Zelda games. You can explore the world and side quests. Oh, okay. Yeah, is that on the Switch? From the map leaks of GTA 6, I get a GTA 5 vibe. One big city surrounded by wilderness with a few small towns. Will this hurt GTA 6 just like GTA 5? GTA 6 is going to have 2 states in it. It's going to have the state of Gloriana, which is Georgia. So we know that. Thank you, Wingcake, for the super chat. There, Pat, look at January 3 SL1 nuclear incident, Idaho 61. Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I don't know anything about this. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me see. Friends. Okay. Pickle, if you accept that invite, you will be able to connect into the private session. So just get in here. You don't want to be in that session because the griefer is just going to keep killing you. You hear about the U.S. planning a strike on Iran? I don't know much about that. I don't want any kind of war. I don't want, I don't want interventionism. I don't want any kind of war. I don't want that stuff. The government should focus on fixing the economy and inflation. Thank you, Ferris, for the super chat. Pro, you think you ever play Cyberpunk before GTA 6? I will play. I'll play. I think I might get to play Cyberpunk before GTA 6 comes out. Yeah, I might do that one. Why didn't Ireland take part in World War II? Because they really weren't going to get anything out of it. That was really it. You have to understand Ireland's perspective. Like a lot of people get mad at Ireland and they say like, oh, Ireland was like aiding the Nazis. The Irish did not like the Nazis. The reason that they didn't get involved in World War II is because they had recently fought a civil war, in the 1920s. They were in no state to fight a war whatsoever. And on top of that, they really had no reason to get involved in the conflict. And you have to also understand Ireland has a very bad relationship with Britain. And Britain was at war with Germany at that point, and so Ireland really didn't want to get involved in the conflict. So that was it. Britain offered Ireland Northern Ireland if they got involved in the conflict, but we don't know if that would have been honored. So that was it. So Britain told Ireland, oh, if you join the Allies, we'll give you Northern Ireland at the end of the war, but we don't know if that would have been truly honored. So that was that's what Ireland's perspective was like. Is like they were like, we just recently fought a civil war. There's no reason for us to get involved in like a war across the across in mainland Europe, and so that's really why Ireland really stayed out of the fighting in World War II. Pro, you think you ever play Cyberpunk before GTA 6? Yeah, Valdo, I replied to that one. Probably I will. Hello, Pro. I'm playing GTA 5 mod called LS Red. It's a really good single-player roleplay mod for realism and a really good crime system. Oh, what does it do specifically, Appalachian? Explain how you found the lazy supervisor got fired. Also, will you plan to buy property in Nevada and use it as a rental for tenants? The thing I found here's the thing I found. Las Vegas specifically, right? Las Vegas can be a very difficult market to run a rental in. The reason that Las Vegas can be a very difficult market to run a rental in is because there is so much competition. But on top of that, I looked at the housing in Vegas. Most houses that I've seen in Vegas are under an HOA. Like most houses are. Like this is very different from where I live, where most houses are not part of an HOA. Like we almost have no HOAs here in the Midwest, and so in Las Vegas specifically, most houses are part of an HOA, and the HOAs do not let you rent out the houses. They might allow long-term rentals, but they don't allow, like, you know, Airbnbs. And when you're dealing with an HOA, there's also extra rules that you have to get involved in. You have to tell your tenants about that, and it just complicates the process just so much more further. So that's why Las Vegas is a little bit of a more difficult market to do rentals in. I found the Midwest I found to be much more easier to do rentals in than Vegas. Let me see. And how did I find out the lazy supervisor got fired? My coworkers told me. So I'm just basing it off my coworkers' word, but that's what they told me.
Oh no, there's people trying to.
I'll read it after the stream, Ferris. What, General?
This Griever trying to add.
Don't add him. And Pickle, if you're watching the stream too, Pickle, don't add anybody that you don't know. That's what, because there are people that are trying to get in the sessions right now, and they're trying to grief specifically. So just don't add anybody you don't know. I don't know what makes these people are so desperate. Like, these people are so desperate to come into my session and harass me. And yes, guys, I know that guy that's trying to get in, I know he's a griefer. The guy that I saw earlier in the lobby, that guy has griefed numerous times in Red Dead Online, and his friends have used God mode. So I know they're trying to grief. So it's like, I don't know, it's honestly pathetic that people are just so desperate to try to get into my session to kill me. That's honestly just pathetic. Like, don't you have anything better to do with your time? The politicians from both parties support wars, billionaires, the CIA, the UN, NATO, and the IRS, and taxes, despite them bragging about that they're patriots. Every promise they make is a joke, yeah. And I think one of the biggest problems that we've had. Let's see here, browse catalog. I think one of the biggest problems that we've had is the military-industrial complex that has grown in America for so long. Because here's the thing is, the biggest benefit of having your own military-industrial complex is that you don't have to rely on other countries. Like, America does not have to rely on other countries for guns. We don't. Like, weapons specifically, we don't. We are completely self-sufficient. When it comes to, when it comes to weapons, that's one thing that America has done really well at, is that we don't have to rely on other countries. And that's actually very important. You never want to rely on other countries for your own protection, because if other countries stop selling you weapons, your military has nothing. So that's one thing that America has done really well, is that we are completely self-sufficient when it comes to weapons. We produce our own weapons for our military and everything like that. However, though, the downside of having a large military-industrial complex is that you're going to have these large corporations that specifically profit from that. And the more weapons that are being made, the more money they are going to be getting. And so in times of peace, these guys don't really benefit much. And so because of that, they're more likely to sway the country towards war. So that's what I would say about having a military-industrial complex. And as for the CIA, yes, the CIA, they've done some pretty nasty things. The thing is, if I was to name one organization, right, like one American, organization that has caused the most amount of hate towards America, it would definitely be the CIA. Like, literally everybody around the world knows what the CIA is, and that's not a good thing. Like, when they think of the CIA, they don't think of it in a good way. So, like, that's basically what I'll say about that, is that the CIA has caused America a lot of really bad reputation, and what happens is a lot of people around the world, they think that they have this, like, BS view where they think that Americans support, like, coups in other countries, they support, like, overthrowing, legitimate governments and stuff like that, because the CIA has done that so many times that, like, so many people around the world think Americans support that, when the reality is the majority of Americans don't support stuff like that. It is just the CIA has done that, and they have basically caused a lot of really bad reputation for America. Like, America looks really bad as a country because of the things that the CIA has done. So it's destroyed our reputation. Let's see here. You can make characters and do a ton of stuff. You can form relationships with and join gangs. The economy is also realistic. Huh. Well, that seems like an interesting mod, definitely. Is this, like, what is this, like an RP mod? That griefer tried to add me numerous times when we were playing. I don't get why these people are so obsessed with wanting to grief you. Yeah, it's just specifically for attention. That's what it is. I don't get it personally. Like, I'm not a toxic person. I don't start drama with other people. I don't, curse at people. I don't yell at people. So I don't know, like, why these people harass me a lot of times. The only conclusion I've come to is it's attention. It's attention. It's like, oh, haha, I joined professional session. I joined, like, this YouTuber that has 1 million subs. I killed him a bunch of times. I harassed him. I accomplished something in my life. That's basically how they think. Like, you guys saw that PvP video that I uploaded, a couple days ago. That griefer that kept killing me, that guy with a really disgusting name, that guy, like, sent me a message, like, thanks for the video. Like, something like that. He was recording basically killing me, and he was going to upload it on his stupid channel when he doesn't even realize it backfired so badly on him. So, like, now literally the entire world, the entire internet of GT Online knows that guy's a scumbag. Let me see here. I bought a Tailgater S in LS Red for 90,000. In GT Online, it's like 1.5 million. The cop system is great too. I forget how dumb vanilla GTA 5 cops are. I like the police system in GTA 4 the most. That was the one I liked the most. I mean, also, I'm gonna go back into game chat. Go here. And thank you, Appalachian, for that super chat. Thank you, YT Grid. Hey, Professional, is there any way I can contact you privately about an issue with another GTA YouTuber? Much love, man. Well, you can email me on my email. It's on my About Me page. You could also leave me a tweet, a comment underneath my tweet, and I can follow you, and then you can message me privately on Twitter. But if this is concerning some drama, though, dude, I'm not gonna get involved in that. I stay away from drama, so I don't get involved in stuff. Even when other YouTubers are toxic to me, I really don't respond. So, like, even when YouTubers upload videos attacking me, I don't really respond to that. I just ignore that stuff. So I just really stay away from it. But you mind telling me what's going on, or I guess you want to tell me that message then, but. What's going on here?
Yeah. Would you watch my cargo here while I go find someone to deal with this? Yeehaw!
Wait, so this is the first time I've seen this mission, or actually, no, it's the, but he says, like, will you watch my cargo for me, but, like, would I ever make a Sopranos lore video? Maybe breaking down the rackets and how different families make their money. Also, do you like Led Zeppelin? I've never really listened to their music. I know my dad is into them. He owns several of their albums. But about the rackets and stuff like that, I can kind of explain it in a way, but the thing is the reason I don't do lore videos on any crime shows or crime movies is because the copyright is ridiculous. Like, even if you use, like, 30 seconds of footage from, like, a TV show, you'll get copyright claimed for that. And so it's, like, makes it almost impossible to monetize any kind of video like that. So that's why I haven't really, that's really why I haven't covered, much of that, Kobe. Oh, the French Empire definitely did some horrible things, especially in Algeria, Gunner. They they fought a large war in Algeria to keep it. I disagree to who say Mafia 2 DLCs suck. Only Joe's Adventures is great, while Jimmy's DLCs are boring. Will I do a Jimmy DLC one day? Yeah, I'll do it. I gotta do it. I'll do it before GTA 6 comes out too. I do like the Jimmy's Adventures. Some of the missions are repetitive, but I still do like it. Read previous comment, Pat. React to comments. Well, thank you, Vertigo, for the super chat. Previous comment, which... You mean yours, or... Hang on a second here. Okay, hang on here. And YT Grid, I sent you a message also on Twitter. Okay, here we go. Destroy these supplies, okay. What do you mean, Austin? What do you know about the Barbary Wars? The Barbary Wars were America's first overseas conflict. Thomas Jefferson had sent over the Marines to deal with them. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the copyrights are just stupid. Can you just post it again, Vertigo? Well, here's the thing, Gunner. The Barbary Wars weren't just about the money. It wasn't just about that. A lot of people think that it was because the U.S. was being extorted, which was definitely part of it. Another reason for the Barbary Wars is that the Barbary pirates had kidnapped a lot of Americans. They had attacked American ships and they kidnapped Americans and enslaved them, and that was one of the reasons the Barbary Wars was launched, specifically for that. So for people that don't know this history, the Barbary States was the first country that America ever went to war with. besides Britain. So like since when America became an independent country for the first time, it was the first country that we went to war with as an independent country was the Barbary States. And the Barbary States, what it is they are located in the modern day state of Libya. They were mostly in Libya. Some of them were in Algeria, but they were mostly in Libya. And if you're wondering why the U.S. went to war with, a country halfway across the world, right after it got independence, was because what the Barbary States were, it was a country, but it was kind of weird. So it was a country, but the country would engage in piracy. So the country would have their pirates basically attack ships, steal ships, and enslave people on those ships. Now you could pay a toll to go through the area and not have to deal with the pirates. Now the British, for example, they paid a toll. And you're probably wondering, why did the British pay a toll instead of actually dealing with the pirates if their navy is so strong? The reason for that is because Britain basically saw it that if we pay the toll to the pirates, it's actually cheaper than sending our warships over here and, potentially losing some ships and in battle and soldiers and stuff like that. So that is why Britain really paid the pirates, because Britain was pretty rich and they were like, we might as well just pay them off just so our ships can get through the area. Now, America, when it became an independent country and trading ships started coming over there through, throughout the Mediterranean and north of Africa, the Barbary States basically started attacking these American ships, raiding them, stealing the cargo. The United States did not have the money at the time to pay the pirates, but it was also because we wanted to show the world that we weren't going to be pushed around, that we weren't going to be bullied, because a lot of people thought America was like a really weak country when we just became a new country, and so that's why we basically sent the Marines over. We sent the Marines over as their first engagement, and that's where the Marines, saying, when the Marines say from the shores of Tripoli, that's where that comes in, from the Barbary States. They say that to this day. So the Marines, they went in, they bombarded the pirates, they went in for a land operation, they just destroyed them. They just completely obliterated them. This is the time when cannons and muskets existed. So the Marines humiliated them. And also, the thing about the Barbary States, even though they were a semi-independent country, there was one country that they did not attack ever, and that was the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans, they basically paid tribute to the Ottomans. So they would pay the Ottomans a portion of everything they stole from the ship, and in exchange, the Ottomans would let them operate. So the Ottomans were the ones that they never went after. Now, when the Barbary States were actually going after, American sailors, this is before Thomas Jefferson became president. I think it was Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was them. They went to the Ottoman embassy in London, because the Ottoman Empire had an embassy in London. So this is after America became an independent country. I think it was Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they asked the Ottoman ambassador, they said, we never fought in the Crusades. We never laid war with you. We never laid war to your countries. Why are you doing this? Why are you attacking us? And the Ottoman ambassador basically said, because you are non-believers. That is precisely what he said. And at that point, Thomas Jefferson was done playing nice, and he said, you know what? Okay, if that's the way you want to play, then, we're going to go to war. And that was it. And Thomas Jefferson was a very anti-war person. He did not support intervention or, getting involved in crap. But that was like a conflict that he could not ignore, because American ships were getting attacked by these pirates, and the pirates were not going to stop. And so, those pirates really got humiliated by the U.S. They really got destroyed. So we gained a lot from that. A lot of countries were very impressed by us when we destroyed the pirates at that point. Let me see here. I missed a bunch of comments. The LS Red wanted system has a circle where you get recognized. It gets bigger the higher your wanted level. Mine takes 2 minutes per start to clear. Huh. Is this kind of similar to the Scarface wanted system? It sounds a little bit similar to that. Thank you, Appalachian. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. Can you do another retail reaction video soon? Also, a video where you react to our own hot takes would be cool. Nothing inappropriate or political, of course. I could think of something. I wanna make another channel update video. I just don't know what I want to make the video on. I'm thinking about what I can do it on. If there's a specific topic you guys want me to talk about, I can make it. Canadian government cut tuition grants by 60%. As someone planning to go to med school, it's making me contemplate not going. I already study biomed engineering, which is a well-paid degree. Thoughts, Pat? here's what I will tell you, Ferris. Thank you for the super chat. You do whatever you want to do. Don't let other people pressure you, because there's a lot of pressure, for example, for people to be doctors. And so I don't know how your family is. I know your family is from Persia, but what I will say is, for example, I have a lot of friends that live in India, and they have told me these horror stories about how, like, their parents basically just keep pressuring them to be a doctor, and they don't want to be a doctor, because in India, that's like a very respectable career to be a doctor, and so a lot of families, they pressure their kids to be doctors when kids don't want to go through that. They don't want to be doctors, but they pressure their kids heavily to do that. So ultimately, you should do whatever you want to do, and I don't know if your so I'm not making assumptions. I don't know if your family's acting like this, but I'm just saying is just do primarily what you want to do. Don't let other people pressure you. And also about being a doctor is a very stressful job. It requires several years of training, medical school, and all that, and chances are you could get in debt for that a lot. Like, for example, I saw a video recently where it showed an American truck driver makes more money than a lawyer does, at least in the first 10 years. And a lot of people don't know that, because lawyers are going to be in debt for a lot of their career, and so doctors will be kind of to the same extent in debt. So there's plenty of careers out there, and at the end of the day, money is money. That's what it is. Money is money. And so really, it really doesn't matter where your money is coming from, as long as, you're not breaking the law, you're not doing anything immoral, so you're not, like, scamming people and stuff like that, and you're not, breaking the law. Really shouldn't matter where your money's coming from. Money is money. So however you make your money is, you're living. So that's it. So people will try to judge other people for how they make money, but, if they're not doing anything wrong, they're not committing any kind of crimes, it's not really anybody's business how somebody else makes money, how they support themselves. So that's the way that I see it. Pro, do you agree with me with my list that that are safe from getting shut down by Sony, Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, Sucker Punch, Polyphony? Well, was it Guerrilla Games is not going to get shut down because they make the Horizon games, and the Horizon games have just sold so much, so there's no way Sony's going to shut that down. Naughty Dog, I don't know. Insomniac, probably not, because they made the Spider-Man games, which got pretty popular. So, and Sucker Punch made Ghost of Yotei, which also, Ghost of Yotei actually sold more than Ghost of Tsushima. But, yes, a lot, what I'm the most concerned with is I'm the most concerned of Bend Studios getting shut down. The Days Gone developers, they could get shut down. There's a very high probability that can happen. So I'm really scared that can happen, because I want a Days Gone 2. I want a sequel to Days Gone. I really like Days Gone. Thank you, Jonathan. Appalachian Odyssey. The LS cops put out a BOLO or sometimes even an APB when you escape wanted vehicles. I have my BOLO APB set to 5 minutes per wanted level star. Oh, so they know the vehicle. They can identify the vehicle. Okay, I got that then. Damn, my horse needs to eat something here. Oh, thank you, Mr. Killa J, for sponsoring the channel. Parents are sorely overrated. Well, I wouldn't say that they are overrated, but here's what I will say is, and this is my viewpoint. I don't think parents should really have any say in what a child's career is going to be. I don't think I think they should have zero say in that. Zero. So, like, a child should decide what their career is. Like, when they get older, I want to be a mechanic, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, whatever their career is, I don't think the parents should really get involved in that. The only thing the parents should do is offer support, but I don't think the parents should be telling kids what their career should be, because that's one thing that really pisses me off when parents will decide what the career is for their child. They'll say, oh, you are going to be a doctor, you are going to be a lawyer. For me, that's toxic. It really is. It's like, not everybody wants to do that. People want to follow their own passions, their own dreams. So like that's it. So when children are growing up, I get it, they have to follow their parents' rules and instructions and everything like that. I get that fully. I'm not disputing that. What I'm just saying is that the parents should not be deciding the child's career for them. They should not be doing that. I just think that that's really toxic. Read previous comment, Pat, and do the old man's voice. Well, which previous comment, Suppressor? There's a lot of those comments. And do the old man's voice. Oh, the voice where I was pissing off the scammers. Hello, this is Alex Mason. I fought in the Cuban Missile Crisis. I protected Florida from communism. That was the old man voice when I talked to scammers. The scammers were so convinced that I was an old man when I talked to them in that voice. Did you see in North Yankton MC the other day, the story I posted about that private high school from Florida that accepted cartel money for at least 4 years? No, that one I didn't see. Can you send that link to me again? Can you send that link to me again, Blinded Eagle? This is the first time I'm hearing about this. What if the child wanted to be a camera person for adult videos? Look, I get it. I get it that there's like, certain careers are disgusting and stuff like that. And so, sure, I understand, parents would not want their, kids doing stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm talking mostly that, we're talking within reason, that, they're, kids should be able to follow whatever their dreams are. If somebody, if a child, for example, says, I want to be a garbage man, the parents should accept that. Garbage men make good money in a lot of, states. They have unions, too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But, like, people think that that's somehow, like, a bad job, or that it's, it's wrong or something like that, but... I'll tell you guys a story specifically about this. So... cause damage in the area to lure in the target. So there is this woman that I met at the community room in my apartment building, right? And this woman, do you know what she told me what she does for a living? She's a stripper. This is what this woman does for a living. And so this isn't somebody that, like, has like this isn't like she's not a prostitute, she's not having sex with guys, she just dances at a club, a legal club, so it's not like she's doing something illegal. She dances at a club, and the thing about this girl is, she tells me that she's made over $1,000 a day, a little bit over that, every single day, and a lot of that money is coming from tips, cash specifically that she gets, and because she has a career like that, the government doesn't know exactly how much money she has, so she doesn't have to actually report all of that in taxes when you think about that. I'm not saying, tax evasion is right. The only thing I'm saying is that the government doesn't really know how much money she has. So she can keep a lot more of that money. Now, the thing about this is that this girl, what she does is she has a single daughter. I don't know where the husband, boyfriend is. That I don't know. So that I'm not going to get into. I didn't ask her about that. But now, here's the thing about this, is that the apartment complex that I live in, it's a pretty nice apartment complex. So a really nice apartment complex. Like, very, very nice. Like, I could not imagine living anywhere else. So it's very nice apartments, very beautiful, like, complex. Now, she lives on the 4th floor. And the 4th floor is actually where the upper class people live. I live on the 3rd floor, which the 3rd floor is kind of more like the middle class, because I don't really need a fancier apartment, but the difference between the 3rd floor and the 4th floor, the difference between them is that the 4th floor has granite countertops, it has an electrical fireplace, it has better carpets, so that's really it, but I really don't need that stuff. But anyways, about this, is that, think about it, if that girl, works at that club, like, 20 days of a month, right? 20 days of the month, let's just say that. she would be making around $20,000 a month. That is around $240,000 a year that she is making. $240,000 a year just from dancing in a strip club. And, you know, there are people out there that would judge that, and they would say, like, oh, you know, that's wrong, that's immoral, and stuff like that. But, like I said, money is money. She's making $250,000 a year, literally dancing in a club. And she doesn't need to do that forever. You know, she could just do that for, what, you know, 5 years? And after 5 years, she could probably save up close to $1 million. And what she could do then is she could just take that money and just invest that. You know, put that in the stock market, or you put that into a high-yield savings account, and she never needs to work again. She never needs to do that. You know, she could buy a bunch of rental properties with that money and just make money from that. So that's basically what I'm getting at the end here, is that, you know, people don't really have the right to judge others for what they do as a career. You know, it's not like, you know, she's not doing anything illegal. You know, she's not breaking the law. She's not hurting anybody. So, you know, some people might say that, oh, it's wrong, it's immoral. Well, that's their opinion. But, you know, she makes $250,000 a year. That's how much money she makes. And the thing about that is that her daughter has a really good life, because if her mother is making that much money, that child has everything that they could ever want. Everything. So that's it. So the child probably doesn't know what the mom does for a living, and it's probably best to kept that way. But that's basically what I'll say about that, is that, you know, she makes $250,000 a year. And who am I to judge? You know, who is anyone to judge for that? So that's basically what I'll say about it at the end of the day, is to me it doesn't really matter how somebody makes their money, as long as, you know, they're not doing anything illegal and they're not doing anything immoral. So if they're not, you know, hurting anybody, scamming anybody, you know, breaking the law, it really doesn't matter to me how people make their money. Morality, I guess. Well, morality, that's based on people's opinions. At the end of the day, that's what I'll say. You know, when people would say, oh, what she does is wrong for a living, but I would tell them, are you going to pay her $250,000 a year? You know, hire her and give her $250,000 a year at your company or whatever it is? You know, they would say no. So, you know, then I would say back to them, then it's not really your business. Do you think Aaron Paul could be perfect to play Deke for Days Gone in a TV show? You know who should play as Deacon in a TV show? The same guy who voice acted him. The same guy, the guy who did Darth Maul's voice. He should play, I forget the actor. What is Deacon's actor's name in Days Gone? He should play Deacon, if anything. Sam Witwer, yeah, that's... Yes, the Saigon execution photo, that photo was, there was a lot of misinformation surrounding that photo. Oh, the Industrial Revolution was definitely brutal. If you had a job in the 1800s in America, what would it be? Wait until 4 minutes to end the mission, Jetro. What would I do for a living if I lived in the 1800s? Maybe being a gunsmith, or maybe maybe being like a guard for hire, you know, stuff like that, like those traveling guards, like in the West, that they would hire, you know, stuff like that. At least I know that would be somewhat dangerous, but at least it would be interesting, because in that time period, you didn't have TVs, you didn't have the internet, you know, life was pretty boring, and so, you know, at least you get to travel, do things. I have not gotten the chance to watch it, American Loyalist. Now, here's the thing is, I'm gonna hold off on watching the Fallout TV show until April. And people are probably wondering, why are you waiting 2 months? Because I'm gonna watch it with my mom when I go visit. So I'm gonna visit my parents in like late April is when I'll go visit again to my family. And my mom is like a really big fan of the Fallout TV show, and so she hasn't watched season 2 yet. And I told her I'll watch it with her. So I'll just watch it in like in 2 months then. I thought about becoming a gunsmith today, but I don't know if they make that much. It's unlikely. If you got hired by a respectable gun store, you would probably have a good job. So it really depends. Like, starting your own gunsmithing business will be very difficult, very, very hard. But if you got hired by a company, that'll probably be better. The most underrated U.S. president? I'd have to think about that. Probably Calvin Coolidge. Yeah, maybe Calvin Coolidge is the most underrated U.S. president. You know, he kept us out of stupid wars in the 1920s. He was a non-interventionist. He was very free market. He lowered taxes. Taxes were the lowest that they've been under him. Yeah, so I would say he cut government spending a lot. Yeah, probably Calvin Coolidge. Probably a very closest thing in the modern era to a libertarian-like president. You can hear music in the background. What music? If I got 3 wishes from a genie, what would I wish for? That would be difficult. If I had specific, like the specific wishes, I already thought of 2. Let me just think of the third one. What would the third one be? Okay, I'll tell you what the 3 wishes that I would have. If I had 3 wishes, right, from a genie, my first wish would be for myself. My first wish, what it would be, being able to live forever, basically immortal. So if I can live forever, never age, you know, stay, you know, the same age that I am forever, I'd take that as my first wish. Second wish, it would be get rid of cancer. You know, cancer is completely cured. Third wish would be no more reasonable healthcare prices. That's basically what I would say. Is that that healthcare will be priced reasonably compared to what it is now. So that's what I would say is probably my 3 wishes would be. If you're asking me why I don't wish for money, it's because if I live forever, I can make as much money as I want throughout my life. The presidents from both parties don't know how to solve problems like pay off the national debt. Yeah, and here's the thing, Isaiah. The national debt is never going to get paid off. It is never going to happen. We have a better chance of winning the lottery than the national debt being paid off. Well, why do you want to live forever? Because you don't know what's after death. That's why. At least I know what's on this right now. That's the thing is. So that's at least my viewpoint on that. Appalachian, thank you. So in LS, red, cops do recognize your car. If it's stolen, you have to respray it and change plates. If it gets recognized, all you need is plates. Okay, so it's similar to Mafia 2 Mafia 2 system. Okay. Legendary bounty? Okay. Okay, we can do a legendary bounty. Let's do one here. Okay, guys, what are we doing as the legendary bounty? What bounty are we doing? I'll let chat decide on this. Tobin Winfield was the one this is the most annoying bounty in the game. This one specifically. This is the most. That bounty sucks. It's the worst. This is the worst mission in the game. If you guys really want me to do Tobin Winfield, I'll do it. Red Ben Clemson is pretty challenging, but at least it's fun. Sergio is a bit interesting too. He's a sniper. What is it? Barbella Alcazar. She's very difficult. Yes, she's very hard. This guy's really annoying. Tucker is really annoying. Yukon Nick, and then one person saying red. Another person saying Yukon Nick. If your parents told you that they want grandkids so that the family name can continue, what would you say to them? I would say to them that that's my decision. That some people don't want kids. And I'm not saying I don't want kids, but I haven't decided on that yet. So that's what, that's what, some people just don't want kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. People act like it's bad, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's people's own decisions. It's their own life. Do you have any childhood friends left? Yeah, a few. Okay, hang on. Let me put this to a poll. I'll put this in the chat. I'll put the most ones here. Hang on. Poll. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna type this poll. Let me see here. Hang on. Let me see. What's the other one that people were asking for? Philip Carlier. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, I just put up a poll. Please vote in the poll. Please vote which bounty you want me to do right now. Which one? Whichever one gets the most votes is the one I'll do. Okay, looks like Yukon Nick is winning. Unless Tobin Winfield does. Tobin Winfield, by the way, for people wondering, is the most annoying mission in the entire game. But it's, Yukon Nick is a pretty interesting one, but Yukon Nick, the hardest part is when he takes the human shield. That's the hardest part. I'll probably give it another minute or two. No, I haven't, Victor. Haven't seen season 2 of Fallout yet. Okay. Can anyone who hasn't voted vote, please? Can we get this vote to 100 votes? We're at 76 votes right now. Can we get it to 100 votes? When we get to 100 votes, I'll make my decision here. See which one's the most. Vote, please, everyone. Even if you don't know the characters, just vote. Choose one. For people that want to know who don't know the characters, Tobin Winfield is a corrupt politician that you have to capture. It's the most annoying mission in the game. Yukon Nick is a fugitive. He's from the Yukon. He's Russian, and he lived in Alaska, and he came down to the West. He's taken a sheriff hostage. Red Ben Clemson is a train robber, and Philip Carlier is he's this crazy guy that lives in the swamp with alligators. Okay, just need 4 more votes. 4 more votes, everyone. It's at 96 votes. Okay, yep. Looks like Yukon Nick is winning this one. Okay, we're gonna do Yukon Nick then. Let's see. Yukon Nikolai Borodin, 50. He's a Russian trapper and hunter, having spent time in Alaska Territory, where he has multiple warrants. Last seen near Fort Riggs. Sought for the known murder of several men suspected in the disappearance of a brave U.S. Marshal sent to apprehend him. Highly territorial and dangerous, believed to keep a grizzly captive. Okay. Is Ben King your favorite rival boss? Oh yeah, 100%. By the way, today we're getting a lot of views on the Red Dead stream. The Red Dead 600 viewers. That's the most I've ever had on a Red Dead stream in a long time today. Yeah, a lot of people are watching the Red Dead stream today. I'm glad there's still a lot of people that enjoy this game. Yeah, what about it? The Saigon photo. Yeah, but the guy in the Saigon photo was actually a really bad person. Fallout 4, yes, one day I want to do a playthrough of it. Yeah, Rockstar did kill this game, unfortunately.
They're baiting Yukon Nick. Why, shit. I knew his ways would catch up with him someday. He's a trapper, but maybe more like a feudal lord. Way he runs that country up there. It's medieval, I tell you. Anyone wants to trade fur near Nick, they got to be ready for
Thank
a
you,
fight.
YT Grid, for sponsoring the
So
channel.
I guess that's what happened to get him in trouble. They sent a marshal up there to speak to him a few days ago. Been captured, most like. Don't let that happen to you.
Usually Marshall is dogs who fight my bears. Shit, but no you. I make a special case. We'll be fine. But first, we drink. Come on.
Also, about Yukon Nick, about him, is if you actually release the bears from the cages, they'll kill his gang. That's what. So this guy's from Alaska. A lot of people don't know. A lot of Russians had actually lived in Alaska because this was the United States acquired Alaska only at the right at the end of the Civil War when it used to be a Russian territory. Where's the bear cage? If you got a shot on the bear cage lock, take it. Okay, and then the bears are gonna kill all of them. Yeah, and honestly, that was the only good thing that Andrew Johnson did in his entire presidency, was getting Alaska. The only good thing. He was a terrible president otherwise. Oh, this is the part that's gonna suck.
We coming out. Don't shoot.
I forget where you have to shoot him. Don't you have to shoot him in the leg?
Here. Come to save him, huh? Huh? Hey, please. Looks like you have me cornered here. I'm going down. He going to.
What? He died? What? You gotta be kidding me. Does anybody know where do you have to shoot him exactly? Because that's... Can anybody tell me in the comments, where do you have to shoot him? I thought it was shooting him in the leg, but... On the hand? Which hand, TJ? Man, his guards are tough. Right hand, shoot his right hand, okay.
Stop! We coming out. Don't shoot. Your friend the marshal here.
The hand he's holding the gun in, okay.
Huh? Huh? Hey, please. Looks like you have me cornered here. I'm going down. He going to.
Oh, come on. Replay checkpoint, everyone. Oh, great. We gotta do this again. Here. Don't shoot so many times. Okay, so I just gotta shoot him once in the hand? Oh, that's... Only shoot one bullet? Okay. Pro, I agree with you 1000%. I love Days Gone as well, and the way it left off on a cliffhanger, it's annoying.
Don't shoot!
Let me shoot him, guys. I will only shoot him.
Your friend the Marshal here. Come to save him, huh? Huh? Hey, please. Looks like you have me cornered here. I'm going down. He going to.
No, that's...
I'm going down. He going to. Come on. That would be real stupid.
What the hell?
You see this?
Watch out, because his gang is gonna come in now. And I agree with you, Jonathan. We should have gotten a Days Gone too, but we unfortunately never will. Guys, just run. Don't even shoot them. Just run. Run. The gang doesn't appear on the radar. His henchmen don't appear on the radar, which is what's so tough about them. Just run.
Sometimes all you can do. It's funny how things turn out. One moment you. Next, you tied up.
Oh, did I take someone's horse? I think I took someone's horse. Oh.
Maybe I shouldn't have killed all those people, huh? Poetic justice, maybe you call this. I call it a good joke. Funny joke. All of you can meet. Come on. I want to meet my new friends. Share a drink with the sheriff of this county. You sure this place...
Well. Is this for me? The cells are downstairs. And this is yours.
Okay. I want to show you guys the worst bounty in the game. I know my new video went viral. It really did. It got a lot of I have played DayZ a bit, but DayZ is not a fun game unless you play with friends. Okay. Oh, we can't do legendary bounties anymore. They're on a cooldown. That sucks. I wanted to show you guys Tobin Winfield, which Tobin Winfield is really annoying. Hang on a second. See here. General, can you form a posse? Will it let you do the legendary bounties? Will it let you? Okay, I'll see you, Blinded Eagle. Take care, man. You form a posse and invite me. 3 wishes to have superpowers and become a superhero. Free will. And happiness and no morality. Oh, one of my wishes would definitely be to get rid of cancer. Pickle, rejoin his posse. Okay. Can you, General, are you able to do Tobin Winfield on the bounties? Does it work for you or not? General, check the bounty board. Tobin Winfield. That's Tobin. If you can do that mission. No, it's a cooldown for you too. Oh, that sucks then. Okay. Thank you, Nick, for subscribing. Hey, Pro, I agree with your PvP video talk 110%. I don't know if you've seen my comment under it, but once a guy told me in-game chat that you cared for score and KD since you would say you were 1-0 on someone. Oh, no, I don't really care about stuff like that, dude. Back in the day when I would fight the griefers, I would tell them 1-0 to piss them off. That's what I would say. I would say that intentionally. I never cared about that. I would just say that back to them to piss them off. So no, I didn't really care about that. There's nothing more that pisses off a griefer than when you have more kills than them with a scorecard. That pisses them off so much. Well, it's like glitched. Okay. Thank you, Seth, for that super chat. I know, man, I would do the same, but I found it funny because he sounded so delusional and not the brightest star in the sky, to be honest. You know something, guys? I will tell you something really funny. I made a griefer really mad once. Like, I made him rage so badly. Like, just so bad. And I never forgot this time. So this happened, what, more than 6.5 years ago. Long time ago. But I was streaming GT Online. And we used to do, you know, these big streams on GT Online back in the day. And this is before you could, you know, sell in private sessions. So we had to sell in public sessions. Now, there was this griefer that was constantly trying to get into my sessions. He would constantly join in grief. What he would do is he would add random people in the lobby. He would tell them he's friendly. And then he would, people would add them. Even I told him not to add the guy. And he would join in grief. And what happened was, you guys remember how crappy the GTA Online servers were on PS4? You remember how bad they were? Like, I know they're bad on PS5, but at least on PS5 version, you at least connect quicker. Like, you don't really have the cloud screen glitch on PS5, where on PS4, you constantly got stuck in the clouds. You're just endlessly stuck in the clouds. So, I was doing a live stream on GTA Online. The griefer joins in, and I look at the menu of everybody in the lobby, right? And the griefer is in that menu. He's in there. So, like, when you see, like, the player list in the lobby, the griefer's there. And the thing is, though, is I looked all over the map. He wasn't spawned in. Because he was still stuck in the clouds. And so, what I ended up doing is I realized that, oh, maybe the cloud screen glitch is actually helping for once. It's preventing a toxic person from joining in. Because if I join a new match, you know, he could just follow me. Maybe he'll actually connect instantly. So what we did was we just kept playing and playing and playing. And we played in that lobby for close to, oh, you want to play poker? Okay, we can play poker. We were in that lobby for, you know, close to 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, that guy was stuck in the cloud screen for 2 hours. For 2 hours, he was stuck in the cloud screen, the griefer. And I saw him in there on that scoreboard. So I would constantly check, like, the board, you know, of all the players on it when you press down on the D-pad. And I would see that griefer's in there. And after 2 hours, he finally connected into my session. For 2 hours, he sat there. So just imagine that. Just think about that. Imagine that, right? The griefer sat there for 2 hours staring at a cloud screen just so that he could get into my session. He just sat there for 2 hours in a cloud screen just so that he could get into my session. That is pathetic. But he did that for 2 hours. And what ended up happening is he finally connected. And when he finally connected, do you know where he was? He was, of course, in the facility. That's what he set his spawn location as. And I saw him in the facility. And after 2 hours, do you know what I did? I went in the convenience store, the 24/7 convenience store, because you can't get Orbital Cannon in there. So I went in that convenience store, and what I did was I said, okay, guys, the stream is over. You know, everyone, I'm going to wrap things up here, get some food, and you know, everybody just leave this lobby. That's what I said, and I ended the stream. And that guy got so pissed, because just imagine that, sitting there for 2 hours watching the cloud screen. And then after 2 hours, he finally connects in, and I just end the stream the second that he just joins in. And and he got so mad. The guy was so angry. You know what he did? He sent me a bunch of messages on PlayStation. There's a bunch of messages, just numerous messages, and just cursing me out, you know, saying that I'm running, that I'm a loser, a bunch of other stuff. Just, he was pissed, I could tell. And the story gets even better, guys. Because do you know what I did? When he sent me all those messages cursing me out, you know, I reported all of the messages, every single one. And Sony took action immediately. Because within just like a minute, all of his messages were deleted by PlayStation. Because the PlayStation AI thing takes, you know, deals with that really quickly. All of his messages got deleted. Every single one. And I don't know if he got banned or suspended or, you know, whatever happened. He never messaged me again. Ever. After that. And so that's what I'll say is that, you know, that was this, imagine that, 2 hours of his time wasting, staring at a cloud screen. And then after that, I just reported all of his messages where he just cursed me out, and he got in trouble for that, possibly suspended for some time from PlayStation. So, you know, it was literally, and the thing is I will be honest with you guys. Normally I don't like, you know, that type of stuff. I don't like pissing people off and enraging people, but I actually felt good. I actually just felt good. I actually did take personal pleasure in pissing that griefer off. I did enjoy that. So that was probably one of the few times where I actually did enjoy really pissing someone off. I really don't enjoy pissing people off, but that was probably one of the few times I did enjoy pissing someone off. So I made some of my money in LS Red by stealing license plates and selling them to a forging office. Also, you missed my earlier super chat. What? They have those businesses like that? Is that sophisticated, huh? Let me see. The cars to be reported stolen, though. I just sold 630 grams of 10 pennies favorite to the various Los Aztecos. This mod seems really detailed. Once a God mode laser was killing people, and I shot his character out of the cockpit with my pyro. He then proceeded to call his friend a liar for the God mode not working for him, and then asks if the pyro had explosive guns. Oh my god. As you know, the thing about this, and then thank you for the big super chat there, Seth. The thing about this is that these griefers, they don't seem to understand why people hate them. Like, it just happens, like, a lot of times, like, it's like they're completely oblivious to that. Like, they just don't understand why people just hate them. Like, it's like, I think narcissism plays a role in this, because they act like the victim all the time. I'll tell you guys a story. Thank you, Kane, for subscribing to the channel. Thank you, dude. I'll tell you guys a ridiculous story once. So, this happened years ago, right? Years ago, we were selling one of my businesses on GT Online. And this was not on a stream. This was just, you know, free time. Just, you know, in a session, just hanging out. What ends up happening is, I remember, because I used to use the old oppressor back in the day, and we had the duffel bag sell mission. And what I did was I got my Oppressor Mark 1 and I was, flying to, deliver the, it was the meth business. I remember specifically we were selling. I was going to deliver the duffel bag to the location. And what happened is, I was getting locked on. Somebody was firing at me. And it was actually a guy in a pyro. And I dodged all of his shots. And then I went for the final drop. And when I went for the drop, I had a bunch of missiles behind me. And all the missiles just hit me right when I made the drop. But I delivered it. And the product was safe. And do you know what this guy would do? This guy would constantly passive pop. So like back then you could use passive mode in the jet. And so he would get out of passive mode. And then he would just blow you up. And then go right back into passive mode. He'd get right behind you. And then get out of passive mode. Now, I had another friend that was actually in that lobby. And the other friend that I had, he was actually in a laser jet. And the laser jet that had the one that has explosive cannons on it. And he was not in the MC, but he saw what was going on. And the griefer didn't know that. And my friend was off the radar. And the second the griefer got out of passive mode with his jet, my other friend blew him up. Like, the griefer saw it, it came out of nowhere. And then what ended up happening is when the griefer spawned on the ground, we all just started killing him. We just kept killing him over and over again. And do you know what the guy did? The guy then sends a message to my friend, the one that was in the jet that blew him up, and said, like, what is your problem? I'm just trying to have fun here, and you guys are taking this way too seriously, and you're just killing me over and over again. So, like, just think about that. That guy had tried to blow up our cargo, just attacking us over and over again, and he was passive popping with a jet. So when you would get into a dogfight with him, he was constantly in passive mode. He'd wait to get behind you, get out of passive mode, and then shoot you. And then he gets blown up, and we start killing him. And he basically plays the victim, and he's all like, oh, why are you guys being so toxic? I'm just trying to enjoy the game, have fun here, and you guys were just killing me over and over again. It was one of the stupidest messages I've ever seen. Like, literally, it's like you started a fight, you started harassing people, and then you act like a victim. Like, that's what I never understood about this crap. Like, literally is when you're, we have a saying in America, and the saying is, don't start a fight you can't finish. And that is exactly that. It's like, you jump a bunch of people, try to blow up their cargo, and then you're surprised when people react to that. Like, Johnny Santiago, who played Don Teresi in Mafia the Old Country's birthday today. Oh, happy birthday to him. I did not know that. Oh, wow, we got 785 viewers. We got a lot of people watching right now, too. Oh. If you guys are enjoying the stream, do drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to me. In a way, Mr. Green. And also, have you guys noticed how these griefers always have, like, the most toxic names? Like, it's always, like, XX underscore something Liz whatever underscores or something else that's disgusting. Like, the griefers that I fought in that video, in the PvP video, like, two of them had, like, really disgusting names. My favorite boss fight in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and Delta. In the first game, probably the final Liquid boss fight is the best one. In Metal Gear Solid 2, what was the best boss fight? Probably the Jet one. In Delta, the best boss fight, probably the final one. Did you know that Colonel Tavington from The Patriot was based on Benasti Tarleton? Yes, but here's the thing: Tarleton was a scumbag. You know, that guy was a massive scumbag in real life. He was, Tarleton was a piece of crap. So I honestly don't care how pissed off they were about that. Tarleton was a war criminal. That's one thing people don't know is that the main bad guy in The Patriot, you know, the guy who rides around the horse, Tavington, he's based on Tarleton, who was a real British officer in the Revolutionary War. And that guy was a piece of crap. There were several American soldiers that had been, what did Tarleton do exactly? I'll tell you what Tarleton did. There was a battle, I forget the name of the battle, but a bunch of American soldiers had surrendered, or Continental soldiers at the time, and Tarleton's men just massacred everyone with bayonets. They killed everyone. Clearly people who had surrendered. And about Tarleton is the British officers hated him because he would constantly go against orders and just push through. So he would just do reckless charges. They despised him. So when you see in the Patriot how they hated Tavington, that's based on real accounts of him. Now, he didn't burn down a church with people inside. That didn't really happen in real life. But he did massacre American prisoners, you know, POWs. He did do that. His men did that. Tarleton was also ruthless in the southern campaign. Him and his men would raid farms, loot them, burn down buildings. Like, he was known for burning down several towns and villages and buildings. So when you saw that in the Patriot, how the British forces, they burnt down Mel Gibson's house, stuff like that very much happened. So Tarleton was a hated person. Like, he was despised in the U.S. The other thing about Tarleton is that Tarleton was also captured in the Battle of Yorktown. But the reason that George Washington didn't have him executed is because Tarleton was from a well-known aristocratic family in Britain, and if he killed him, it would have endangered American prisoners of war that were still in British captivity, so he had to keep him alive. But what George Washington did in revenge against Tarleton's atrocities is he kept Tarleton in a cell while he dined with the other British officers during the battle, because back then European tradition was that if a general surrendered to another general, the rival general would then have dinner with the rival general. That's how it was. So the surrendering general would have dinner as a guest with the general he surrendered to. That was like a European tradition back then. And George Washington basically invited all of the British officers except Tarleton and kept Tarleton in a jail cell. And that was very shameful for Tarleton. Tarleton hated that, but that was kind of George Washington's revenge against him. So that was, Tarleton was a massive scumbag. Was he as brutal as in The Patriot? No, but he was a pretty brutal guy. So he was a scumbag. Like, Americans hated him. He was a loser and a massive scumbag. Also, when you see the Battle of Cowpens that's at the end of The Patriot, that was actually based on a real thing. Tarleton's entire cavalry force was basically decimated at the Battle of Cowpens because he led them on a reckless charge and they got ambushed. I think so, Gunner. Yeah. But honestly, it's stupid that that his family in Britain was getting angry over his portrayal in the movie, because like I said, the guy was a scumbag. What was the worst war crime committed in the American Civil War? Oh, that one. That's that one. It was a Confederate war crime. Hang on, I'll tell you what it's called because I forget the name of it right now. Okay, wait, I'll tell you right now. Okay, the worst war crime committed during the Civil War was the Andersonville prison in Georgia. So the Andersonville prison, it was a prison where a lot of Union soldiers had been taken prisoner. It was a Confederate-run prison, and what happened was the Union prisoners were barely fed in that prison. The guards were very cruel. Soldiers would get beaten. POWs would routinely get beaten, starved to death, killed. And in that prison camp, what was it? There was 45,000 prisoners. Out of the 45,000 prisoners, 13,000 died. That's an insane amount. So from 45,000 prisoners, 13,000 died. So that means 1/4 of the prisoners in that camp died. So that was probably the worst war crime of the Civil War, is that prison specifically. The Confederate officer that was actually in charge of that prison was hanged after the war for that. There is a movie about the Andersonville prison if anybody wants to watch it. I don't remember the name of it, but there is a movie specifically about that prison, and it does show you how cruel the Confederate soldiers were to the Union POWs. Is that a French movie? I have to check that one out, Gunner. Oh, that's good that the Iron Mule works for that one. What do you think of John Brown? Are you talking about the that priest who liberated a lot of slaves? I think that's who you're talking about, right? Let me just make sure I'm getting it right. Yes, John Brown. Okay, so about John Brown is, he was a pastor that had, before the American Civil War, he had attacked slave plantations, and he had freed a lot of slaves. Now, about John Brown is, John Brown was a good guy at heart, but he was a little bit crazy at the same time, too, because John Brown was, like, convinced that God was talking to him. So it was, John Brown, in his mind, he thought that that God was talking to him and, telling him to do the things that he was doing. So the actions that John Brown did were good. He did free slaves, and, so he was generally a good person at heart, but he was a little bit crazy in the head. What country made the movie, Gunner? Hey, Jack Gaming, what's up, man? He was crazy in the head because he believed God was talking to him. It wasn't just that. John Brown, a lot of people would classify John Brown as insane. John Brown was not a stable guy, like I said. He believed in a just cause, but he was a bit, crazy in the head. Do you think that GTA 6 will finally give us some damn commas so we can read our money amount better? I never really thought about that. That's actually a good point. I would actually like commas with the money, because, like, when you have a lot of money, it's hard to tell exactly how much you have. Thank you, Appalachian. Thank you, Seth. Did you know of the fight at Fort Sumter in South Carolina, Pro. Am I right? It was the start of the fighting because they started launching at the fort? Yes. The, this Fort Sumter, it was a Union fort that was in the American South, and that's where the Civil War started, is that Fort Sumter was shelled. I gotta watch that movie then, Gunner. I'll see you, Jetro. Take care. Why are some governments and corporations so obsessed with age verification and Face ID nonsense? When it comes to governments, the reason governments are obsessed with that stuff is because governments are trying to act like they're doing something, like they're trying to help the public. That's ultimately what it is. It's to show off. I guess we will probably be wrapping the stream up here. I'm a bit tired here. I gotta get something to eat too. I'll still stick around and answer a few questions here before I go. So if anybody wants to ask me anything, I can. We got almost 900 viewers. Wow, a lot of people watching today. If you guys are enjoying the channel, you know, subscribe to me, please. Was the Brotherhood of Steel ranks? I know it's Initiate, Knight, Paladin. I don't know more than that. There's also Scribe. Next Yakuza video will be later today, or you know, tomorrow. Technically, it's later today because it's already midnight. Great stream, thank you, dude.
Who's this then?
Great stream. Thank you, dude. Western Front DM. The Spider-Man games, one day I'll play them, yeah. Bro, yeah, you did, Reagan. Yeah, I guess mass surveillance is part of it. Great stream as always, Pro. Have a blessed night. Thank you, Long John. Thank you, Isaiah. Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about John Brown, Isaiah? Favorite Medal of Honor game? Frontline. Oh, well, I'll do a stream on Sunday, Elias. Do you have an NCR helmet? No, I don't. Thank you, Jetro. Okay, guys, so I guess we will be wrapping up the stream here. Thank you, guys. If you guys enjoyed the stream, drop a like. If you're new to my channel and enjoy my content, subscribe to me. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend, guys.